just happy to be here.
What is up, beautiful people of the world? My name is ExZac Change, and I'm happy to be here today with my guest, Moot from FruitBaked.
How's it going, man?
It's good.
Happy to be here.
I am happy to be here with you. And you're here at the Fortress, the Bat Cave.
Is that what you're calling it now?
Yeah, that's what I just made up.
As of right now.
So, it's pretty cool. I wanted to get you on the podcast because you have a really cool brand, and we got a lot of things that we can talk about. But one thing that I think is really cool is just like what you do with your brand, and like how just how you've taken fruit and weed and made it like a really recognizable, fun, like apparel brand.
I appreciate that, man. Always try to do things a little bit differently. It's definitely a concept most people don't understand or quite grasp right when they see it. So, but I like that.
Well, I like to get baked. I like fruit. I like to be healthy. A lot of the stuff you do is very vibrant, very colorful.
Yeah.
When you're at the orchard, it's a whole vibe, dude. It's like,
It is.
yeah, it's just, it's super cool, man. I can't even remember like when I first met you. I can't remember where it was or when it was, but I just know that, I definitely didn't connect you to the brand. I was just like, oh shit, like FruitBaked. Okay. And I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah. And that's the way I like it. I think I don't want my personal identity tied in with the brand. It should be its own thing. You know, I'm not selling myself. I'm selling art. I'm selling clothing. I'm, anything that influences me and influences the people I work with as well. So
unlike what most people, like when you're an artist, usually you're selling your art, but a lot of people are selling themselves, right? Especially when it comes to like music and stuff like that. It's even these days, it's less about the music and more about, the persona and the character and the face tats and the fucking, you know what I mean? What they're wearing, what they're driving, what kind of watch you have, like all that kind of shit. It seems like things have been less focused on the actual art, and it seems like you focus more on the art and less on any kind of a status or.
Yeah, I think some of that comes from social media in general. Just if you're doing something and you're proud of it and it can get you some clout personally too, most people are going to take advantage of that because it is important to have a strong personal following too on social media, especially if you're a musician. It can't just be about your music. You got to sell yourself.
You always hear that saying, you got to sell yourself, right? Like people are like, they like you. That's why they like your product. But that's why this is so intriguing, because it's the opposite. It's like people don't even need to know who you are. But they see the brand and they're like, oh, this is cool. Like, it's very cartoony. And you can really, like, if you go through your Instagram, because it's just on Instagram, right? Like, as far as where you kind of do a lot of your, like the stories and all that kind of stuff.
Pretty much everything's on Instagram.
You can really see the progress. Like, if you go back all the way to kind of the beginning of your Instagram and you kind of move up where you're looking at just sketches of apples and different little things that you're doing, little cartoons, and then it kind of becomes all these different things, like the little photo shoots that you guys have done with the ski masks and the shopping carts and I was just looking at the one with the snake on the chick's arm and shit. I was just like, dude, it's just cool, and I think it's rare for something like that in Spokane. Because I don't know any other brand that does things like you do, which is cool.
I appreciate that. I don't really think about it, about Spokane. Like, I think there are talented people in Spokane, but I don't want to be. We don't want to have a cool clothing brand for Spokane. We just want to have a cool clothing brand.
Yeah, exactly. You just happen
be
to be in Spokane.
Where we're making it. Yeah, that influences us, and we like where we live, but that's not
the goal.
No.
And for other people that live here, it's like the opposite end. We're like, oh man, like Spokane has a cool clothing brand. You know what I mean? So even though it's not on purpose, we're like, fuck, dude. Like, see, the thing with Spokane is I feel like it's always been lacking on people following through with cool shit. Like, there's a lot of cool shit. A lot of people are like, oh, they get excited and try to do something. But people that are actually executing and, putting out really quality, thought out art. It's not rare, but it's definitely becoming more prevalent now. But I mean, if you've lived here for a while, there's always been artists like Zemeck and those kind of cats that are out there just tagging and people doing that kind of shit. But when you're moving into clothes, I think that's just, I mean, it's just so cool because it broadens it out to all people. Everybody wears clothes, you know. So
Yeah, I think in the past, Spokane's getting better at this, but in the past, lack of follow through is probably because of a lack of support. You know,
Definitely.
it gets hard to keep making music or making art or doing something that you're really passionate about and you love, and no one's giving you a pat on the back
no
for
one's
it.
receiving it well.
Yeah, people are gonna like alter and not stay true to what they wanted to do because then they start trying to please other people instead of make what they believe they should be making.
So that's funny because that's exactly what happens. Is people like at first you start by, well, most of the time, right? The authentic artists, they start with just creating something from the soul, something that they want to create, and then down the line when something doesn't get enough attention or it doesn't get enough sales or it doesn't get enough listens, or then people start trying to tweak things to please people.
Yep.
You guys never do that.
I mean,
From the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like you guys are ever really switching up many things to please people. You're just coming out with new authentic art. Maybe you're tightening up things and making things like the art better, you know, but it's not like, you know what I mean, more refined and more but I don't see like you know what I mean, really like trying to cater to a certain demographic or you know what I mean? You just
yeah, not necessarily, but at the end of the day, people still have to like it and buy it. I might not be making it for a particular person, or we might not be, but if you're not selling anything, you're not a business. So
it's true.
You know.
So do you think? So does that comes that's obviously in your mind from time to time, the business aspect? Because I know that art and business, these two things, they don't go well together. If you're the artist and you're worried about business, like I feel like those two things really should be separate. As far as an artist should be focused on art, and then you should have a businessman focused on business. And when you're doing these two things together, they can kind of convolute, you know, one another.
Yeah, that is hard. And up to this point as a brand, we have focused more on just being creative, telling a story, creating branding, you know, where people see us and, you know, get a feel for like they feel like they know what it is, and have been less focused on the business side of things and sales. And that's, you know, something we need to improve.
And just focused on the actual art. Like when somebody buys it, they're not worried about how they found it. They're not like, oh, dude, this guy's marketing plan is on point. They're just like, this is a dope shirt. Like, I don't know how I found this, but it's fucking dope, and I fuck with it. And I like your guys' stuff too because it's all different. Now we'll get into like how you release stuff and stuff like that later, but you know how it'll go from just like an apple that says FruitBaked to like the Adam and Eve one.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. And then the wasn't there some nuns?
That was the same drop.
The same drop, yeah.
Yeah, nun holding a yardstick. That whole thing was themed around the, like forbidden fruit drop. So Adam and Eve.
Fruit. Okay.
So yeah, it all kind of was themed around that.
Yeah, I love.
You know, all the art can be totally different as long as, you know, the drop is cohesive and there's somewhat of a theme to it. You know, you can do some photography, you can do graphics, you can do all those in one release, you know.
Yeah, you. I mean, if you don't mind. And then it like looked down and it's gone. Well, I guess first off, shout out to CINDER for hooking us up with some weed to smoke.
Thank you, CINDER.
Yeah, we got some of the super lemon haze because we both got things to do. It's only probably 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
so
it's still early.
A lot of day left. God, that's what happened, bro. I put it in there.
It's too sticky.
It's too sticky, and then I'll like pull it out. So shout out to Root Down for having some sticky icky. So a San Francisco 49ers, or no, a Giants fan.
Yep.
The Giants fan. Football fan?
I'm a Raiders fan.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Bro, there's a lot of Raiders fans here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Raiders fans, Cowboys fans everywhere.
And
I feel
Pittsburgh
like,
fans.
yeah,
It's a lot of those 3 teams right there.
there's a reason behind Pittsburgh that I heard that's pretty interesting. They're one of the most like spread out fan bases because the entire economy of Pittsburgh was built around the steel industry, and that collapsed. So all those people got dispersed and had to get new jobs in different cities.
Wow.
So there's lots of people whose family history is in Pittsburgh, but they don't live in Pittsburgh anymore because of the whole industry the city was built on.
So they had to
gone.
leave, and that's where they. So
Yeah.
that's what's
why
actually
there's
good.
Towels in every stadium when they
It's
play.
nice to know that at least they're from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because how many people do we get? Or like the homie Joey is a Pittsburgh fan, and he's never been to Pittsburgh before. But he said he's a Pittsburgh fan because his name's Cordell, and when he was a kid, there was a guy on the team named Cordell. It's funny when you're a kid, you'll pick your team based on things that have nothing to do with stats or this.
Yep.
Even the city. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't a Seahawks fan because I was like, oh man, I owe it to my city to be a Seahawks fan. I was like, dude, the Buccaneers got the dopest logo. I fuck with Pirates. I fuck with them. And that was it. They were like my favorite fucking team, dude, until I became older and people are like, you're not a Seahawks fan? And then, you know, I kind of was like, yeah, I got to rep my city and stuff like that. But when I was a kid, I just wanted to.
So when did that change?
I mean, because when we're talking about liking the Buccaneers, this was probably like, I was probably like 10 or 12, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I was dressing up like a pirate for fucking Halloween, and I just I was just picking the logo and the color scheme. I was like, ooh, red and gray and black, that's dope. And
They
then,
were good around that time though too, isn't that? It was around like 2000 when they
think it
beat
was.
the Raiders in the Super Bowl.
oh, they beat the Raiders, but
Yeah.
I remember them going to the Super Bowl. It was like Warwick Dunn. They had I don't know if you know anything about the Bucks, but they had Keyshawn Johnson. They had a whole bunch of real fire. Yeah, they had a fire team, dude. So I might have just liked them because they were super good too. But
So I think that was when Gruden left the Raiders. Went.
oh, Gruden was the coach.
Yeah.
I remember that. So the Raiders, man. So what? Why are you from California?
No, I'm from Spokane.
And you're a Giants fan and a Raiders fan. Explain yourself, sir.
Raiders because of Bo Jackson was just the man when I was a little kid, and then the Giants were really good when I was really little. And I was the youngest. I have 3 older brothers, so you kind of copy what your older brothers do, and they were
That's
Giants
true.
fans at the time, so
So
wanted to wear a Giants hat like them, and it just stuck.
So were you like a baseball fan, or was it just more like the team and the camaraderie and your brothers and rocking the hat and the jerseys and stuff like that, or do you enjoy baseball? Did you play baseball?
That's the thing. When I was younger, I like playing baseball, but when you're a kid, you don't like sit down and watch a lot of full baseball
Never.
games. Yeah, no.
Or an
so
adult.
I was a baseball fan, but I played baseball. I wasn't like, watching every Giants game.
But that's kind of like a correlation, though. It's like I fuck with baseball, and sports was kind of a big thing when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you
for me, it was
don't.
huge.
I wasn't doing a lot of like when you're older. It's interesting because you probably have a thing you're focused on. You have a passion and art. You have a job. You have like all these other things, and sports are definitely huge. But it's easy to not watch a game or easy to just miss shit. Like I've missed 4, 5 Seahawks games this season. It's just when you're grown, it's not too big of a thing. And when you're a kid, maybe you don't watch the games either, but it's so much more when you're in school and stuff to be repping a team, like, or wearing the hat,
Yeah. Well, and back then you couldn't watch every game unless you're a Braves fan. That like it wasn't like now where you can get every game.
You can get every game.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Yeah.
So for me, baseball was like, baseball to me is very nostalgic because like when I would come home from school and my parents would come home, like my dad would just have the Mariners game on every night or, every night that they played. So it was like, me, like I didn't like it. I mean, I was like, oh, baseball's okay. I'm trying to watch fucking Hey Arnold, bro. I'm trying to watch fucking Doug, and, I guess it kind of just like, then you don't appreciate it. That's what's weird about like being younger and looking back is like you didn't appreciate shit, and then when you get older, you really appreciate it. And there's that dude, that saying from The Office. I don't know if you've ever seen The Office, but they say Andy from The Office. He says, I wish there was a way to know that you're in the fuck.
Uh-oh.
God damn it, I know, right? I'm going to forget on the podcast. I wish there was a way to know that you were in the good old days before they're over.
Yeah, that's...
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, we all have that when it's like, oh my God, being younger and playing basketball and going to soccer practice and all these things. Man, that was the good old days. But then you were probably like, fuck soccer practice. This shit is hard, dude. Like, I'm trying to play video games. I got to go run. I got to go sweat. Like, it's funny how your priorities change when you become an older person, and you're just like, what was fun to you when you were a kid? You're like, that's work now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like soccer, I look back on soccer, I was like, fuck, dude, I was just running so much. Did you play soccer as a kid?
No soccer.
No soccer. So what was your first sport?
I mean, kind of all simultaneously, football, basketball, baseball, but then
Oh, wow.
getting older, just basketball.
So when did you start? Was it, I mean, I know that's kind of a weird question. Was it like younger, like, 6th grade, 5th grade, way before
earlier
that?
than that.
It's a little league.
Yeah, like I was getting Fisher Price basketball hoops for first, second birthday. Always playing sports.
So always been a big basketball fan.
Yeah.
Because I know when I go to your fucking, when I go to your spot and I'm in the orchard, I'm looking around, I'm seeing little basketball hoops, I'm seeing, Bulls. Shit, are you a Bulls fan? Who's your basketball team?
I'm a Blazers fan. I definitely, when I was younger, I was a Bulls fan, mostly just obsessed with Michael Jordan. Yeah. And then I would go to Portland, visit my grandpa, and he'd take me to Blazers games.
Dope.
And so I liked the Blazers. And then when Pippen left the Bulls and went to the Blazers, then it was like 100%. I'm a Blazers
what's
fan.
up? Yeah.
Yeah. The Bulls sucked. Blazers were good.
Been to here, let me clear this. Been to a Sonics game ever?
Yeah. They actually used to, every year they would do a exhibition game at the Spokane Arena against the Utah Jazz.
Really?
Yeah. So growing up in Spokane, like you could go watch an exhibition game. The starters might only play a few minutes, but you could go watch Sonics games in Spokane.
Is that so? I mean, is that like a preseason game?
Yeah, essentially. Yep.
Okay. So they would come out. You'd be, oh shit, Pippen.
Yeah. So.
Or no, it was Sonics. It was Sonics and the Jazz. Sonics and the Jazz. So it was. Damn, bro. Who was on the Sonics, bro? You had fucking. I mean, I can only pull from like a season that I can remember, but like Vin Baker, Gary Payton.
Vin Baker, man.
Fucking.
He had his own signature Jordans.
Vin Baker, dude.
Yep.
Remember when shoes were such a big deal? Like if you fucked with a basketball player, you're like, because you're a shoe guy.
Yeah.
Huge shoe guy.
Yep.
And we'll get to that too. But Kemp. That dude was fucking cool, man.
Yep, he's shoe guy. Had his own signature shoe.
He had
they had 3 signature shoes on the same team.
Because if you could dunk like that on people, bro, you're getting a shoe. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to either be able to just hit threes in people's faces.
The Reebok Kamikaze was his shoe.
Like did John Stockton have a shoe?
He never had a signature shoe.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck because he could only lay it up. If he could have fucking just been a little bit taller and dunked the ball, somebody probably would have got a fucking shoe. Now, did motherfucking
Karl Malone? Who are you thinking of?
Vince Carter.
He had his own signature shocks.
Because he could fucking dunk.
At one point, he had those ugly shocks where the shocks went not just on the heel, but the whole length of the shoe. And they had a zipper on them.
Yes. Dog. Allen Iverson was the only one that can get away with a fucking zipper on the shoe, bro.
Hey, Gary Payton's shoes had zippers. The
Did
glove,
they?
he had the whole shoe zipped, and the whole shoe came off. It was like a shoe inside of a shoe.
Okay, I think I remember those. Never would have bought those.
Son of the glove.
So what is the most? What's the most iconic shoe?
The Jordan 3.
Okay. Besides the Jordans, what's the most iconic shoe?
I mean, just shoes in general?
Just like the most iconic basketball signature shoe.
I mean, if you want to be like a true historian about it, it's got to be the Chuck Taylor.
Oh, shit. Because that's a basketball shoe.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most iconic shoe ever. That's what everyone wears.
More than a Jordan.
Yes.
Wow.
And they're a lot cheaper. It will definitely outlast Jordans.
And they're cheaper. That's what's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like a pair of Jordans, the amount of money that people pay for a pair of Jordans these days, any days, all the days.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking crazy, bro.
Well, especially with the volume of what they put out's different. Before, like when he was playing, like kids just wanted to save up to get their one pair of shoes that they wore for the whole school year, and they wanted to get that one new Jordan for the year. There wasn't all the old ones being retroed, new ones constantly, a million colorways. So the fact that people are spending that much money and there's, you know, so many more pairs out there is nuts.
It's crazy how people can capitalize on the past and nostalgia. And like, once you have all that retro stuff, it's crazy how some things become worthless. Like it works when it comes out, and then it's kind of loses its worth over time, and then and some things gain worth over time.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it comes down to is when something's made to be collectible,
that's what it is.
Then it isn't, because everyone keeps them. When something's made to be utilitarian, like a shoe, no one bought shoes in the 90s, spent $100 on a pair of Jordans and just put it in their closet to save it. No, if a little kid had enough money to get a pair of Jordans, they wore them till there was holes in them.
Fuck out of those shoes.
So then if there was an unworn pair from the 90s now, it's really collectible. And so, yeah, now sense. Jordans are made to be collectible, but that whole craze of it started because they weren't. You know, Beanie Babies are made to be collectible. Now they're worth nothing.
Worth nothing.
Because everyone saved them.
True.
So
and it's like, there's not a chance. I mean, there's a small chance that a Beanie Baby gets worn out, but not like a shoe. Like a shoe, it's like, you still got those?
Yeah.
See, what was very iconic to me as a child were those Iversons. So, I've tried to find them, bro, and it's just stupid. I just
the ones with the zipper?
Not the zipper ones, the honeycomb ones before those.
That was his first shoe.
The first shoe.
The question.
The question. And then there wasn't there a question two? Or the question two was the zipper, right?
No, it went from the questions then answers.
Oh, the answer.
Yeah.
Of course.
So the ones with the zipper are the answer
the
4.
Answer. Yeah. I mean, those were dope. And I remember when people had those, but there was just a year when I was in like 7th grade or something like that. It was like 7th grade or something. Everybody on the basketball team, if you played basketball, you had those questions.
Yeah. It was that weird phase after Jordan left the NBA where all of a sudden everyone wanted to rock Iversons and McGrady's.
Oh god!
Like it went for like, well, Jordan's not playing anymore. Like, who are the new young guys?
That's when
so
he
like,
left to go play baseball.
No, that's when he retired from the Bulls.
Jesus, when did he retire? Was that like
98? I think 98 season or whatever.
And that was after he came back and played for the not the Warriors.
He came back. Played for the Wizards.
The Wizards, yeah.
A few years later, but
okay, so that was during that. Later. That was during that. He retired.
But that whole awkward after he left the Bulls, that was when like all these other sneakers started getting a lot more notoriety.
People were like, what do we do?
Yeah. I remember the same thing in middle school. Everyone was either wearing T-Max or Iversons.
Those T-Max were fire. I think it's crazy because there was a huge hole left when Jordan left.
Yeah.
Because he was that good. Now Kobe has always been like one of my favorite players. He's just because I was actually thinking about this earlier, man. Whether it's rap, whether it's sports, no matter what it is, it's not all about the talent, but there's something about a motherfucker that makes him cool too.
Yeah, that flair, that style, like that's what Iverson had going for him in spades. Like,
oh god, dude,
he had so much. Just like
and he was never on a championship team.
No, I went to the finals.
And with the Sixers?
Yeah, and lost to the Lakers, lost to Kobe.
But he never won a title, and he was so good.
Yeah, he was also surrounded with a bunch of guys who couldn't play offense.
Like he was the best.
He was just
guy on
surrounded
the team.
by guys who could play defense and let him score.
So it was just like, get on Iverson. I wonder how tall he was. He probably wasn't.
It was like 6'2" or 6'3" or something. He's
what's
not
crazy
that big.
Is when you're looking at TV and you're watching basketball players, bro. You're like, the shortest motherfuckers. You're like, oh, that guy's like 5'7", but the shortest motherfucker's like 6'3".
Yep.
Like the point guard's like 6'3". And when I was in high school, 6'3" is like, oh, you're tall, or like junior high, like, oh, you're tall, man. You over 6 foot, you're tall. And then you think about the NBA and you're like, oh, you're the size of a point guard.
Yep.
Because the fucking center is like, how tall? So you have brothers. Your brothers are tall, right?
Yeah, I'm 6'2" and I'm the smallest.
You're 6'2" and you're the smallest, bro.
Yeah, tallest one's 6'9".
Damn, bro.
Doesn't play basketball.
I think about all the problems you have to encounter being 6'9". Like people are probably like, here's the number one problem you have to deal with being 6'9". Everybody's saying, "Whoa, you're tall."
Yeah, asking if you you play basketball. Like,
Everybody
Jesus.
Everybody.
Like, everyone thinks they want to be tall until you can't fit on an airplane. Like,
or you can't
like no car's comfortable. You can't buy
literally
shoes at the
hit
mall.
your fucking
Like,
head
Yeah.
on shit.
yep.
Like you have to be extra aware. You can't just walk through a doorway.
No.
Especially in my fucking house, dude. My house in here, dude, this house is built for people that are like 5'5". I swear to God, dude, I'm 6'4" and I hit my head on fucking everything. It's like, I'll go to like grab a door handle and the door handle's like, it's like low. It's just, he had to like saw off the bottom of the door to like fit it. So tall people problems, bro. Like all short. See, this is the thing is that like, for all my single dudes out there, like short dudes get no love. So there's this big thing with like, you know, being tall is like a good thing, you know, because it's like, especially women are like, you know, if you're like 5'5", damn, bro, you better be able to fucking play the guitar like a motherfucker.
Personality.
Or something. You gotta have something, bro. It's tough. It's tough. That's what I'm saying. Like a dude can win because it's like, oh, you're 6'4", you're 6'5", oh, you're 6'6", oh shit, you know, like damn. But so much.
That's weird to think about because at the opposite, I don't think guys really think that way. I mean, some guys might be into really tall girls or something, but in general, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
I think guys like, you know, it's just like guys like littler women.
Littler.
Yeah, like women that are just small, you know, 5'4", 5'5", 5, you know what I mean? Like 5'6", like, you know, just when a girl is, you know, it's the opposite. When a girl's like, you know, 5'11", 6 foot,
Yep.
she's like, damn, I'm too tall.
My brother, the one who's 6'9", like people were always trying to set him up with like other really tall girls. He's like, why? Like I'm tall, so I have to date a tall chick. Like, no, I like short girls.
Like imagine like people just like, Zach, I have this redhead for you. It's gonna be it's gonna be fucking perfect. You know, I have a whole lineup of redheads for you. It's like, dude, whoa, come on. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's funny because that's another thing on the list that gets annoying. Like you're tall and it's like, oh, I got this girl. She's 6'1". She's perfect for you. Just like, I just want to meet somebody cool.
Yeah.
I don't care how tall they are.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have a kid in the NBA. I just want
Now, see, women have a big issue with dating men that are shorter than them. So that's a thing. That's like a weird thing for them. Like if they're tall, if say they're like 5'7", 5'8", which is probably like a, you know, taller for a woman, you know what I mean? And a guy's like 5'4", then the woman's like, damn, he's got it all together, but damn, he's 5'4".
Yeah, that might work both ways though. It might be the guy that's insecure about that just as much as
I bet.
You know.
I bet, dog. Being short, it's like I guess that's kind of what the purpose of this talk is right here is that like it's like a double-edged sword. Like a short guy will look at a tall guy and be like, damn, man, you got it made. And then the tall dude's like, you don't want to be tall, bro.
You don't have to go to like a special store to buy your clothes.
And
so.
nobody comes up to you when you're short and says, whoa, you're really short. Do you fit into small places?
Like, you could be a jockey.
Yeah, so you could be a jockey.
You could be a pilot. I'm too tall to be a pilot.
Because and you know what's worse is it's because they don't want to offend you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to offend you by saying, wow, you're really tall. Do you play basketball?
Did you get that nonstop?
All the time. Yeah. Like people at school and shit. Like I'd have the basketball coaches like trying to recruit me. Like, oh, you're tall.
Yeah.
Got to get you on the team. Or the wrestling coach would be like, you're a pumpkin pusher. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be pushing pumpkins.
What does that mean?
Just playing basketball, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Pumpkin pusher.
Pumpkin pusher.
So that's what the like the wrestling coaches and shit would call like the basketball players. Because it was just like, I don't know, there was like that kind of little bit of, you know, rivalry
it's
between
the same
sports.
season. Same
It
season.
is the same season. That's right.
Yeah, you're always sharing the locker rooms and stuff or down there after practice at the same time.
God, locker rooms are weird, dude.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that locker rooms really aren't in my life right now.
Especially when it's the wrestlers who actually all like get naked and shower together and you're just the basketball players like, yo, I just want
In
to go
high school,
home.
bro,
Don't
people
want to see
just
that.
stopped giving a fuck. Like dicks were just out, like, and it was just like that locker room smell of like musty fucking thickness. There's like a thickness in the air of like hot water and like wet towels and like you're just like, fuck, bro. Like I just get it, bro. I would fucking see a lot of cats that I knew had gym like in the first period. You know, sometimes you get gym.
That's the
right
worst.
away. I liked it at the end, bro.
Yeah.
I'd like get it at the end, and then I go home and shower, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not that I'm like super or that I was super weird about like getting naked around other dudes and shit like that, because it's just like what it is in sports. Like you shower up, you get through your shit, like you just do. It's not a weird thing. You just do it, right? But I've always liked just getting in my own space and just
that age is rough to ask like some freshman who hasn't gone through puberty yet, who's insecure, to be in a shower with like some 18-year-old dude with a full beard. Like, that's awkward, man.
Oh, shit. Bro, and like back in the day, bullying was like, I mean, I guess bullying now is real too, but I mean, we're not talking cyberbullying. We're talking about like, I'm gonna fucking smack this young kid with my dick bullying.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna knock this kid. Yeah, it was just a weird time. Like, especially in like, if you were in middle school, like if you went to a middle school, because middle school is a weird one, right? Like you were really young and there were people that were like really old, you know what I mean? Compared to you, you were just like, this is a fucking, you know, it's kind of crazy.
Big gap in people's maturity levels in middle school.
Big gap, dude.
Yeah.
And which is just like a lot of bullying. Did you deal with any bullying when you were a kid? Obviously, you had brothers that were fucking 6 foot.
Yeah, I think
crazy.
Oh no, not like any big problems with it. Obviously, you hang out with older brothers and older people. People are gonna like, you know, pick on the little brother a little bit, but nothing. Yeah, no, nothing that ever, you know, had any long-term effects that I know of.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't like an all the time thing, but I always felt outcasted. You know what I mean? Being like a tall, gangly ginger, because that's what I was, right? Like I didn't work out a lot, so I was just you know what I mean? Like how, like it's weird when you, in my situation, like my body, I was growing into my body all weird and shit. And that's like like for most kids, that's kind of how it is. Like you just like grow into your body weird. But for me, it was extra weird because I just had this like Skeletor body with these like long ass fucking arms, dude. And I still got a scrawny ass neck, and I had like big ears and a big nose and red hair. I was like, dude, I was like the fucking target, son. Now I was cool because I played a lot of basketball, and that's the kind of where sports helped me, man. Like when you were badass at a sport, people respected you. But still, like I got a lot of shit, and I saw a lot of people getting a lot of shit, like the bullying things. And you're a dad now.
Yeah.
You have a son, right?
Yep.
That's cool, man.
6 months old.
6 months old.
Yep.
And I mean, that's the kind of thing that probably never crosses your mind, that crosses your mind now when you're like, damn, you know, like these kids. I mean, just in general, being a dad, there's a lot of things that you think about now, and a lot of things that move a little bit differently, I'm sure. Maybe not at the 6 months, but I'm sure that they're going to develop as you move on and you start thinking about this other person and what they're going to go through and what's happening on social media. And the social media thing is really kind of it's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, parents now are like trying to come up with solutions to problems their kids have that they never went through because of social media. Like, and
they
how
don't
you
know.
bring up like none of us were cyberbullied because we didn't have the internet in grade school.
And and I had the internet in junior high, and I would get on AOL Instant Messenger, but there wasn't a lot of, like, somebody would have to get your screen name and message you and be like, you're a bitch, you know, and then they couldn't like publicly shame you.
No.
Now they can kind of like publicly shame you. Like they can post a story or they can make a post, or they can you can kind of, I mean, I guess back then you could kind of rally people too. I'm trying to think, because obviously I don't have any kids, and I don't go to school, so I don't know the exact effects of like bullying now. But I just know that I'm sure it follows you home a lot more. When you were a kid, you'd go home and you just, fucking, that guy's an asshole.
It lasts forever now.
I don't have to see him till tomorrow. Now you're like, fuck, dude.
Back then you do something stupid or embarrassing at school, like that's what it is. Get over it. Now it's literally 10 other kids with their phones out filming you. It could go viral, and then a million people saw you getting beat up, or
even just
whatever.
Viral
like,
in your school.
Yeah. Either way, it's permanent. It's not going away. Like that that's a new problem. We didn't have that.
So I think that there are like, Facebook and a lot of these people are trying to take steps to remove stuff that's targeting people and fucking with people. I mean, you hope that that's what they're doing, but it's just kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy to think the things, because I remember being young and thinking about old people and being like, fucking old people, they don't know shit, they're just stuck in there. I'm out here, I'm having fun, I'm doing my thing, right? And now I'm that old guy.
Happens quick.
It's weird, dude. It's so weird, because I'm just like, oh yeah, you kids and your music, listen to you haven't listened to Tupac, you haven't listened to any of this stuff. They're like, no, man, Lil Skies, man, Lil Xan, man, like, what do you mean you gotta listen to Lil Uzi Vert? And I'm just like, bro, you need to educate yourself. And they're just, yeah, whatever, man, that same shit. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm that guy.
No, you're the old dude.
I'm the old dude. Because I don't know if you saw, but on Instagram, I got nominated to do a thing that was post 10 albums that affected your life.
I saw that.
That have impacted your life. I thought that was really cool, man. And I was excited because I'd seen other people doing it, and I was hoping. I was like, please, somebody nominate me, man, because I love music so much. And there were a lot of albums that really, impacted me as a kid. And I think that was actually kind of an escape from, that really was an escape from a lot of the not feeling included, and because I wasn't bullied a lot, but I felt like I wasn't included. I probably took myself out of a lot of stuff, but music was that thing where I could, like, it's like I had my own thing. Like, I could
it's your own world.
It's my own world, man.
Yeah.
I could create my own soundtrack to my own world that was happening, and that was, like, so important. So I want to ask you, maybe not 10, but like, what are like 5 albums that have impacted your life in a crazy way? I'm gonna give you a second to.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I'm probably not going to think about this. If I had time, I'd come up with a different list.
But off top, there's got to be some albums that you remember in your young life, because in your young life there was not that many albums.
Yeah, Life After Death was a big one.
From Biggie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had those 2 discs. Like, in high school, I put one of those 2 discs in every day on my way to school, every single day for like.
So this is actually an easier way to do it. So in high school, it was Life After Death.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to a lot of other music, but that was one of my go-tos.
That was that was a really heavy one. And then, so what about like junior high, middle school, like before that? What was something that was, because that was the thing with CDs, man. You only had you only had a few CDs, or you had like 10 CDs, and you had one that you'd fucking listen to.
Yeah. Middle school, I can't think of like one I listened to on repeat. I think. Was
it a lot of hip hop? Was it more like alternative?
My family listened to a lot of music from the 60s and 70s, old funk, old soul, old stuff like that. So I had, listening to Otis Redding and all these old classic artists, people my family really liked. But then my oldest brother was really into hip hop. Okay. So like I got introduced to like Goody Mob and Outkast and lots of different stuff at a pretty young age. And then I would say middle school was more where you start like, I don't know, trying to find your own hip hop and music you like and get into, but I don't know if much of it stuck with me that I remember as much as lots of like the older albums.
You haven't found something at that point yet. Because like, what about like elementary school, like when you were a young kid? So were you listening to a lot of those funk albums and that kind of stuff, or
lots of classic rock,
whatever was around?
Would play. Yeah, a lot of just like, I remember like Napster days, just like me and all my brothers all had all our music in the same spot, so it was just the weirdest, most eclectic mix where like
awesome
one brother has like a bunch of Dave Matthews Band, one brother has Goody Mob, one brother has
you just had everything.
A little bit.
And so do you remember when you had like a friend, or maybe you probably were this friend because you had a lot of brothers, where you could actually you would burn mixes, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I was an only child, right? So I would have to rely on other people to burn me a CD. So I just remember it being this really fun thing to write down like any of the dopest songs I could think of at the time, and have like 18, 20, however many would fit on a CD, which is like 20, 21, I think, or 19 or something like that.
I don't remember.
That would fit on a CD, and you would give that to them, and you'd be like, "Ooh, I'm about to get this mix," and just like having a mix 3, mix 4, party mix, fucking love mix,
summer jams.
Yeah, you had all the fucking. Oh man, I remember when I got a burnt copy of Chronic 2001. And that was like, I was holding it like it was gold, and I was bringing it home. And like, it's funny because Eminem has this lyric where he's talking about, kids hiding their tapes, like parents from hiding tapes from their parents, like bad report cards. Like that's how it really was, bro. Like I would shove a fucking record into my pants, bro, and just like walk in, because this shit was like contraband in my house. Like you were like explicit lyrics. Like my parents were fucking crazy. I got a Limp Bizkit CD one time that had it was literally the Walmart shit, bro. The edited version. My mom was like, "Nope." I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Can't even listen to that.
Can't even listen to edit. She's like, "You know what they're saying." And I'm like, "So then what? I know already.
Yeah.
We've reached this. You're not protecting me. I know now." Yeah. That was a weird time.
I remember my mom bought Fuji's The Score just hearing like Lauryn Hill's cover, and then didn't realize she was buying like a hip hop CD, and it like starts listening to it, hearing all this stuff, and
she's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, instantly like didn't even listen through it once.
So your mom too, like, what kind of, your mom listened to a lot of old rock?
Yeah, classic rock. I mean, she listens to like some country and stuff, but she would be.
But she wasn't into cursing.
Love Roberta Flack. No. My mom, still to this day, it's hard to get her to appreciate any hip hop.
I mean, even if you listen to old hip hop like Run DMC, shit like that, was there a lot of cussing? It seems like even back like in the late 80s, when you have to think that's probably when your parents were listening to like, they were really into music. Maybe 70, 80, right? Those times. That's when they're in high school, right? Like probably graduated 86 or, what I'm saying, something like that.
No, they're a little older than that.
So graduated 81 or something like that.
Yeah, even a little earlier than that, but still.
But still.
My dad's probably listening to like the Doobie Brothers and stuff,
There was not a lot of cursing in music back. There wasn't a lot of like Eminem was like a person that you're like, "Oh shit." Like even if you think about hip hop in like 79, and then you think about hip hop in 99.
Yeah. The 90s was like a lot of shock value music,
So what was that?
Marilyn
Was that
Manson
just like a lot of people just kind of just heard it? Like people have done that, bro. Like people have made that, like, because the 70s was like, the 60s and 70s was like the peace, right? Like, oh man, like loving everybody and making those like songs that was like, real loving, and like people I guess I'm probably fixated on one genre right now, but I guess I'm thinking of like the Beatles and shit, where it's like people just coming together and like that kind of shit, and then it slowly progresses into this like, I don't give a fuck and I'm sure there's some genres that were always like fuck the establishment and shit like that, but
yeah, it definitely it changed in the 90s for sure with like NWA and
like you said, Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, even like rock was doing some crazy stuff.
The Marilyn Manson was a thing that you were just like, whoa. But the music was fire. That's what was crazy, is Marilyn Manson's music's dope.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of dope shit. But then you were just like, he's got like tits and like fucking weird, like fucking people were talking about he removed his ribs to suck his dick. There were like all these weird rumors, and like the dude just had like blacked out eyes. Like it was just, the covers were obscure and creepy.
He's a smart guy. Knew how to get attention.
Definitely got attention, bro.
Very smart. He was like an incredibly intelligent kid. He like played Dungeons and Dragons and was like really into. He was like academic kid.
I remember I think there was a rumor that Marilyn Manson was the kid from the Wonder Years. Like he was one of the kids from the Wonder Years. Like there's like a big nose kid from the Wonder Years. Like not the main character, but like his friend or some shit. And people were saying that was Marilyn Manson. Like he used to be on the Wonder Years, and then he removed his ribs and sucked his dick. It's crazy because you couldn't fucking fact check shit back then, right? Like you would just like
the Wonder Years sucking his own dick.
Any shock value you could get back then, bro, you were just like, you just leaned in, and nobody, like, somebody could call you on it, but like only to your face. Like there wasn't a medium to like be like, oh, that's fake. You know, so a rumor would spread around and someone would be like, hey, that's bullshit. And you're like, yeah, we already told 100 people. And 100 people told 100 people. And 100 people told 1,000 people. And now fucking everybody thinks that Marilyn Manson's sucking his own dick.
And he probably embraced those rumors.
Oh, he was like, I'm fucking crazy. I might.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he's like, no comment. Come to my show. Because I remember, dude, I remember Eminem being a huge influence in my music or in listening to music. And it shifted in like, whenever that Slim Shady LP came out.
Was that around like
99?
Yeah.
And there was like a lot of 98, 99. There was like a lot of, it's crazy too, because I was like 12 years old and there was a lot of things I didn't get. Like he made a lot of references I didn't understand. There was like the Vicodin pill on like the front of the CD. And I was like, well, you know, what's that? That shit looks crazy. I didn't know what Vicodin was. I didn't even know like people take pills to get high. I didn't even know that was a thing. You know, I had such a sheltered life. I didn't even know any of that. And then listening to this shit and some of the references and shit, I just remember thinking it was dope as fuck, and this is crazy, and like, but not understanding, not being able to comprehend a lot of the stuff or understanding, you know, exactly what he was talking about.
You knew it was, even if you didn't understand some of the references, though, you knew it was like rebellious, you know, just from lots of stuff you could.
Edgy. It was, it definitely was like, I'm not supposed to be listening to this. Ooh, I'm doing a bad thing. This is crazy.
And it was a white dude doing it.
You know, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like, that shit never came into my mind, right? Like, that's something that I think about as an adult. When I'm an adult, I look back and I'm like, oh, man, that's crazy. But when I was a kid, I'm going to be honest, man. When I was a kid, I never really thought about race, really. I never really thought about it as a thing. Like, my parents never really talked about it, and I never really thought about any. And I didn't know enough about hip hop at that time to think like, oh, Eminem's he's a white rapper. This is crazy. I was just like, this guy is crazy. Because I remember one song that I fell in love with on the radio when I was a kid was Aaliyah and Timbaland. Are You That Somebody? And it's that it's the one that's got like the sample of the baby crying and the I've been watching you like a hawk in the sky. You know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And bro, that shit would come on, bro. I remember sitting there waiting for the radio to play, just waiting. Cube 93 in Seattle, and I just sit there and I just wait. I'd be, please play it. And they fucking play it, and I fucking record it. I do the little record on the tape player, right? I had the little, you could record it. And I would try to catch it and record it, man.
Yeah, I think with Eminem, where the race thing comes in, isn't from like someone who just likes hip hop like you, like you're saying. His race probably didn't affect your opinion on him or anything.
When I was a kid, yeah.
But for racist white America that always saw hip hop as like a black thing, and now the craziest dude in hip hop with the most outlandish lyrics is a white dude, that I think kind of affected people who weren't hip hop fans.
They're like, well, maybe
what
this is
the
cool.
Heck, this little white dude's doing this. I think it did have an effect.
Well, and I think that like if you talk to a lot of black folks, I think that a lot of folks will say they don't really, you know, I don't really relate to Eminem's music. I don't relate to like, what is this guy talking about? This guy's talking about fuck you, dad, and fucking mom. You know what I mean? All this shit, right? But there was a lot of white kids who were like, yeah, fuck my stepdad, man. Fuck him. You know, and that's really who got into that was a lot of white kids who were, because really people just like people that are like them. And
even though Eminem's probably nothing like them.
Even though there's nothing like them, but you could
grew up with a much harder life than probably 95% of his fans.
But that's the whole point, is that he was saying things that kids wished that they could say. These kids are like, I wish I could just say, fuck you, dad, and fucking walk out and punch him in the face and all these things. Like you were living vicariously through this character, because that's really what it was. I mean, Marshall Mathers had a fucked up life, right? But he created this character where he could really exaggerate and get crazy and put bitches in the trunk. And it was, I mean, really, it's like, some people will be like, oh, well, that's just, this dude is just, exploiting this shit. And it's like your song. And I talked about this with the last guest I had, Anthony and a CB was on here. We're talking about this. Like you're sonically through audio creating a movie. So you're creating a character, you're killing people. There's crazy. You're going through you're going through this. You're painting these pictures in your mind, and you're really going through. Like they're creating a movie. That's what an album is. It's like an audio movie, and that's where you have skits in there, and it's tying everything together. And fuck, man, like it was crazy. Dr. Dre did the same shit, and that's why those two were so good. Like Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001, it had all sorts of crazy skits where he was like, I don't know, he was like fucking bitches and passing them on. And there was all sorts of crazy, like, the skits were so cool back in the day. I don't feel like there's not a lot of skits in hip hop these days.
No, not as many. I feel
like there's not a lot of, like, albums aren't such a thing. Like back then you'd get an album and you would listen to track 1,
the whole thing,
and you'd listen to the album, and you would like, the motherfuckers are like, dude, we put this in order for a reason, because this is the order that you need to listen to them to experience my project. Yeah. And now there's no respect for that. Now it's just like, oh man, he's got that single, bro.
Yeah, I think some artists still focus on storytelling.
But I just don't think from the listener's standpoint, I think the listeners don't like appreciate it.
No,
the listeners are just like
social media, man. We all have a short attention span.
Oh, I just love track 6. I'm just gonna go to track 6. It's like, dude, but you skipped intro. Like catch a vibe. I don't have time. I want track 6. I love
it
track
also
6.
used to be a big deal to save up your $14 and go to Hastings and buy your CD. Now you can just stream everything for free. So you're not going to just listen to the same CD over and over when you can listen to every artist out there.
And
when you were a kid, you would get that 1 or 2 CDs, and it's like, these are what I'm listening to for the next 2 months until I can afford another CD.
Accessibility and convenience kills, I don't want to say just art, because it kind of kills like everything. Like if you could only eat, when you were a kid, you could only really eat when like your parents were feeding you. So you were like, oh, it's dinner time. Now when you're an adult, you're like, I could just do whatever. I could eat all day if I wanted to. I could fucking just munch. Yeah. I could fucking order a pizza. I could get ice cream. I could, you know what I mean? Like when you were a kid, it's like your mom had ice cream. Oh, you got some? Oh shit, we get ice cream. Oh shit, like it was a thing. Now you're like, I could get a tub of ice cream, eat it to myself.
When like, everything's available all the time, you don't get excited about it anymore.
You don't get excited about it, man. No. And so there's something cool, and this leads right back into FruitBaked, the brand, and how accessible it is to the public. Like people can't just get that design. They can't just at any time go onto the website and get that forbidden fruit line.
No, that was available for 1 day.
For 1 day.
24 hours.
And there's not even like from the public side, there's not even like a big rhyme or reason for when these things drop, or like they just kind of happen, and you're just like, oh shit, like you're either on and you saw the announcements and you had the money and you were able to cop a shirt, or you were just like, oh fuck, where'd you get that? Oh, what? 1 day?
Yeah, and part of that's on purpose. Part of that's just being unprofessional and not planned out and being like, oh, we haven't dropped anything in a while. I got a bunch of designs. Let's just drop something. So it's a little bit of both, but some of it's definitely on purpose.
So even from your end, not everything is strategically planned out to be dropped at a certain time to
usually it is.
But there's just some times where you're like, I just want to drop this.
Yeah, we should drop some stuff next Friday. Let's do it.
Because have you dropped anything lately?
No, it's been a while. Have a lot of stuff cooking up.
Got a lot of stuff cooking up. Good time to be on the podcast.
So yeah, soon it if all goes as planned, it will be a little more I don't know how to say this. It'll be more steady, more consistent with when stuff drops, as far as it won't just be, hey, 2 drops this month, 0 drops next month. It won't be like that as much. But there'll still be a mysterious element to it.
Do you know how many drops you did last month or last year? Just like in 2018, like how many did you do? Like a couple a month? Did you kind of?
No, not that many. Probably only like 4 or 5. Like 4 or 5, maybe even if that. I don't know.
And it's so you kind of got a lot of stuff that you're sitting on, and then it's just you know, at that point, it's kind of you just because from our standpoint, from being the people, and I'm talking about the people who know your brand. There's a lot of people listening to this have no idea what your brand is. They've never seen the Instagram and on anything. But from the people that fuck with the brand, you know, it definitely works with this anticipation of like, damn, when's that next drop? And fuck, I got to make sure that I don't miss it because I've missed a few, and then I've been like, fuck, I love that shit, dude. And I didn't get. I'll see the homie wearing it. I'm like, you motherfucker, dude. You know?
Yeah, and it's not like it sells out. Like everything, nothing ever sells out. I shouldn't say nothing. But in general, everything's available. We just limit the amount of time it's available.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just that one day. But I mean, it's not 10 people could order it, 100 people could order it. That doesn't really affect.
Like you have enough to give them. It's just this that time frame. And
we just shorten the time frame. We still want everyone who likes the brand to have a chance to get the product, but you still, you know, there's something special about getting something that you feel like not everyone else is going to have too. So we want people to be able to get it, but they also have to pay attention and follow the brand and get it when it's available. But you know, that way when it's only available a day, people get a little bit more of a unique product.
Well, I know you don't want to water down the brand, and that's why you do that too. But do you ever do like giveaways, or thought about doing like giveaways for like old shirts or old designs, or making an opportunity for people to, you know, pick up and like something that they wish they would have got, and that they were like,
that kind of defeat the purpose. I mean, some of the old stuff, yeah.
I'm saying for like a 24-hour thing again or something like that. Have you ever ran something twice?
I think the only thing we've ever ran twice was some of that Trump stuff.
Oh yeah, talk about that, please. I was actually meaning to get into that.
That was just, I don't know, something I feel like we kind of had to do, and not necessarily in general. We're not trying to take like a political stand or be some brand about politics, especially after we dropped those. People were constantly giving us like ideas like, oh, so, and it's like all about politics, not even about Trump, about other politicians.
Biden
and
shirt, bro.
Small little issues and this and that we should make sure it's about. And it's like, no, we're not like, you know, some political brand.
That's
but
not what we're trying to do.
Yeah, at the same time, fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot of how you guys subtly, the subtleness, I don't know if that's the word, but it's just so beautiful because it's not like a blatant fuck you, but it's like a I'm peach Trump. You know what I mean? And you can put it together, you know what I mean? It's not just like Donald Trump's face with like a fucking X over it. Like it's like, you know, you really find a really cool way. My favorite one is the collaboration that you did with Derek Jenkins.
Yeah, that was fun.
Fucking love that one, dude. Because he actually did tell me that it was you. You had an old picture of the middle finger up to the Confederate flag.
Yeah,
and then he just used that dog. That picture is fucking perfect.
That shouldn't have happened. Like we had a different design that he was going to use for his art for the song already done, and it was original. It was something I personally made, and for some reason when he went to like get it on all the platforms, I think it was Apple, someone said it was copyright, or they might have a copyright issue.
This was like an original brand
it was something I made for Derek.
Something you made, yeah.
Well, I mean, we did a lot of the brainstorming process together, so I shouldn't say like just I made it, but we had it, we both liked it, he was going to use it, and then that happened, and he had already announced like a date for the song, if I remember right. Okay. So then he was like, oh, we need a different image like now.
So then you just pulled that out.
And so I just scrolled back in my phone. That's like a crappy photo I took on an iPhone 6. Like, and I think I took that photo in 2014. And I was just scrolling through some stuff, sending stuff over to Derek, and when I sent him that one, he's like, yeah, that we got to use that. So I think I remember edited
you
a little
saying
bit.
That,
and,
I look at the picture and I'm like, this doesn't look like an iPhone from 2006. This shit just looks like a clean photo. I mean, I have it blown up on the back of my shirt, and I get the best looks. I get the best looks from everybody. It's awesome.
I forgot I took that photo. Did not know it was in my phone. Was just probably took that going 60 miles an hour down the highway, saw some dude with a Confederate flag and held my finger up and took a picture.
Bro, I think it's kind of the Confederate flag issue is kind of a weird issue, right? Like a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about it. And it just seems like such a simple issue.
Be a weird issue.
Yeah, it's so
it
simple, but so
like,
many people are like, but well, you know, that's not what it means, man. You know, and you're like,
what does it mean?
What team are you repping right now, bro?
Yeah,
like if you're wearing a fucking Mariners hat, I know you with the Mariners. Like you fuck with the Mariners.
Our country was at war with itself, and that side supported slavery. The other side didn't.
And you're not rocking the other flag.
It's pretty much that simple.
It's that simple. So there's an argument that people, oh, well, you know, I'm from the South. It's part of our, you know,
your shitty, ugly past.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it's a part of.
And I mean, there's like a lot of, you know, Outkast, for example, has rocked like, you know, Confederate flag belt buckles and shit like that. And I think that that's more of like a taking something that's, you know, has a negative connotation and embracing something from the South and making it not a fucked up thing. But, you know, people will use that to be like, you know, that's not what it's about, man. But yeah, like you said, the simple fact remains that that's what it represents. Well, but dude, Duke's a hazard, man. What do you know, people will find a million different things to try to justify it, but it just still, especially you're in the Pacific Northwest. Where are you from, bro? Oh, I'm from Spokane.
Yeah,
and you have a Confederate flag?
There's a reason for it that maybe makes sense. If you grew up in the South, then okay. But I grew up here, and it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me.
And when you see people flying it up here, and it's like, don't tell me that's about Southern pride when you live in Spokane, Washington.
You're flying it.
Yeah.
Bruh, it's not just in your bedroom. Like you're like, I'm not even just going to get a sticker. I'm going to attach this flag to the back of my truck, and I'm going to wave it every day. I'm going to secure it. I'm going to do maintenance on it. I'm going to, you know, it's like, yeah. It's fucking crazy, bro. Like you said, especially when they're not from the South, you're not in the South, and you're yeah.
People know, even if they have their own reason for flying that flag, they know what it represents. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. They know what it represents, and they're looking for controversy.
Yeah, there seems to be, especially on this side of the state, in this area that we're in right now, we kind of see a lot of that. And when I wear that shirt, I get a lot of funny looks, bro, especially when I'm up north and I'm at the grocery store and people are like, hey. Like I can just see them, hey.
Yeah.
Like, what, do you feel some way about this?
Go wear it out in North Idaho.
And it's North Idaho. How weird is that? That's literally how everything is set up too, man. It's like Idaho is such a weird place. Listen, loved Idaho. Love Idaho. A lot of really cool people in Idaho. A lot of cool places in Idaho. A lot of awesome businesses in Idaho. But fuck, bro. Y'all need to get on board with weed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need to just... What is going on, man?
It's a whole different world, man.
I got an AK-47, but if we find you with weed, you're going to get fucking put in jail. Whoa. A plant?
Yeah.
But I have a man killer. You know what I mean? Like the hypocrisy in a lot of these things. I'm not trying to go politics right now, but it's just, I don't know. These are just like the observations of a stoner from Spokane looking around the world and just being like, what?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate how worked up people get over things that don't affect them whatsoever.
But I like how you fucking play in that fucking sandbox, and you know what I mean? You poke around and really you're not afraid to just in your own artistic way. Especially Derek, dude. Like Derek doesn't give a fuck. Like, and that's what I love, dude. Is he just wants to fucking tell you to your face. He just wants to that song he's got, bro. Super fucking powerful song.
Yeah.
And yeah, the art you guys did was just so on point.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything, but Derek's definitely got some more stuff coming too. So.
I think I'm gonna get him on again, dude. He hit me up and he's like, oh man, I got a couple things in the works. We should, you know. And I was like, well, let's run it back because when we did it before, it was out in the living room. You know, there was, you know, we've changed a lot of stuff since then. So I'm excited to get him back on. And fuck him. Isn't he moving? I thought he was moving to New York or something. And I was like,
he's moving back home. He's from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, that's right.
So he's lived out here for quite a long time though. Because Derek and I actually went to high school together
in Spokane.
Yeah.
Okay.
we didn't know. So when he reached out to FruitBaked,
Mm-hmm.
he did not know that.
That it was you.
Yeah, he reached out to FruitBaked and we were going to link up, and like halfway through the process, I was like, by the way, like, you know, the owner of FruitBaked, man. We went to high school together.
Oh, that's so crazy.
So yeah, I've known Derek for a long time. And
So that's blossomed into a whole beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you guys, and I guess the interesting part of this whole situation is in high school, you guys weren't like, super close friends.
No, not.
Like
I mean,
hanging out.
we definitely knew each other.
You knew who each other were.
Yeah, yeah.
But and then that's another really crazy thing about life is how you see somebody, you acknowledge, oh yeah, I know who you are, you know who you are, and then it's like only if you knew then, like, yeah, man, in 8 years we're gonna be working on a project together, or you know what I mean, in 20 years, 15 year, 12 year, whatever it is.
I don't even think between high school up until recently we ever. I mean, I think we ran into each other at a few like local hip hop shows.
Just kind of a head nod.
Yeah. No, like we actually talked to each other, had a beer together. Like, yeah, no, we definitely weren't like strangers at all. But yeah, I think up until we started brainstorming some stuff, hanging out and talking creatively, but we'd only seen each other a few times since high school.
Because if I see somebody from high school, I'm like, what's up, man? Like, I don't know. Just because we went to high school together doesn't mean we have anything more in common or anything to talk about any different than any of these other people around me that I don't know.
We played some basketball together in high school, so we knew each other.
So that's different. Yo, man, it's crazy how much basketball we played in fucking high school, bro. Like how many games you just pick up, you just meet people because you're just like, oh yeah, fucking this guy's playing. Oh, we picked up this dude. And we just, you be running. You really get close in basketball, bro, because you those emotions fly. Imagine, it was crazy how much emotions were in basketball, bro. Like I'd swat somebody and there was some real anger. And if I would lose, my homie Harrington, he fucking beat me 100-8.
In a
one-on-one.
Who plays one-on-one to 100?
Bro, so I was in junior
marathon
high.
Basketball.
Yes, I was in junior high, bro. And my girl just broke up with me. She had just broken up with me, and
he was like, "How can I make this worse?"
We're gonna take it out. We're just gonna take it. He's like, "Man, let's just take it out on a game. Let's just go." And I was so distraught and just like in my own head and shit. He was just whooping me, bro. Just whooping me in 100-8, bro. We just kept going. I was like, nah, man, I'm going to get it. And he just kept whatever you're picturing in your head right now, that's what happened. It was not good. It was 100-8. It was raining. It was one-on-one, like at the basketball court in the apartment complex. Like everybody had the court in the apartment complex, half court. One-on-one.
Before the game started, did you decide we're playing to 100? Or did it just like keep going? Because I've never played a game to 100.
I think that it might have kept going. I think that it was just like, all right, man, we just play. Let's just play.
Double or nothing.
Now, when you're a kid, you would play a big game. Like I would play let's play to 40. Let's just one-on-one. I can't even imagine us playing till 40, but it was probably like, yo, we'll play a game to 20. And then it was like, all right, no, let's just keep it going. Like I'm going to catch up. I'll play to 40, play to 50. I don't know, bro. I know for a fact 100-8 happened one-on-one.
Dang.
I was depressed. I was losing. It was bad, dude. But I hung out with a lot of people that were a lot better at a lot of things than me. Like I'd get beat at fucking video games. I'd get beat at basketball. Beat at fucking football. I'm always getting challenged, bro. Yeah. So I think that kind of helps you. It humbles you, and it helps you when you become an older adult. You really can go through life knowing like you're not hot shit, dude. There's a lot of people out there that are way better at what you're doing than you.
Yeah, I definitely got better at sports in general by always trying to like play with my older brother and his friends who probably didn't want the little brother playing with them who's half their size or whatever, but like you let me play, and then it's like they're not going to take it easy on me, so
God,
that's good for you, man.
Those are always tough, dude, playing those older kids, man, because they would fuck you up, bro. Like I would get swatted by, even though I was tall, I get swatted, bro. I didn't have the confidence, so I'd come up for a shot. I didn't have any pump fakes or anything. I just go for the shot, and people just fucking those older kids would just get me, dude.
Yeah, and my brothers were a lot bigger than me too. So
you were.
It wasn't just older. It was.
And they love to swat you. They're like, "Oh, I almost fought my little brother."
Yep.
Well, shit, man. Tell the people where they can find FruitBaked.
Mostly just on Instagram for now. At FruitBaked on Instagram. We post a lot on our stories, a lot less to our page. That may be changing soon.
Because you do have a website.
Yeah, the website's fruitbaked.com.
Okay.
And how it is right now, we just completely shut down the website between drops.
Okay, so it just says like under construction, or
It'll just say, like follow us on Instagram to see when our next drop happens.
Okay. So there's nothing available.
No, there's absolutely nothing available.
Okay.
Right now. That will be changing slightly in the future.
Okay.
The drops will still be, for the most part, just 24 hours available, or only available for 24 hours. But the website will get to a point where it's open all the time. There just won't always be product available.
Shit, bro.
Yeah.
FruitBaked on Instagram, not on Twitter or anything like that, just Instagram. Facebook?
We have a Twitter and Facebook, but we never use them.
Never use them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Instagram is
Instagram.
the
That's
new
the
wave,
spot.
bro. Get on Instagram, follow FruitBaked. Bro,
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
appreciate you coming on,
Yeah.
bullshitting about fucking life and shit like that.
And 100 to 8.
That's 100 to 8, man. Never forget it, bro. It's a fucking big F in my life, or a L, a failure, a loss. All right, y'all. It's been dope. Moot from FruitBaked.
Yeah.
FruitBaked.com, FruitBaked on Instagram. All right, guys.
Later.
Peace.
Yo, I'm just happy to be
I
here.
think about all the problems you have to encounter being 6'9". Like, people are probably like, here's the number one problem you have to deal with being 6'9". Everybody's saying, you're going to get fucking put in jail. I'm going to fucking smack this young kid with my dick.